No, I thought I turned it on. Okay. All right. We'll do it again. Make sure you're in live chat. Ann Rose, Margot, L, hi, Deborah Vancouverden, Linda, Shelly, Joe, Jeannie's talking about life, Liz Tops, Kevin, Barb Olson, Nicole Griffith, Lisa L. Let's see here. If I missed someone, I'm sorry. Nanette. Okay, I'm not on mute anymore, right? Yeah. Hi, Carolyn P. Okay, so please keep Nicole and her family and her dad in your thoughts and prayers because he passed away earlier. If you weren't on our other live and you don't know. So she's been into the Zooms and she's going to be okay, as she always says, because everything works out. It always does. And yeah, sad part of life. Hi, special needs mom. Hi, Pamela, Patrick. Anyway. So Farm Wife, I saw you at, you probably know by now, we postponed karaoke because of Nicole's father's death. It just didn't seem the right time, especially because Nicole is going to participate in it and it's not the right time. But we will reschedule it. Let's see. Yep. Anyway, you can leave Nicole messages on the people were leaving them on the other video. People are leaving them in Slack. And all that good stuff. Plus, she might still be in here. Hi, Cheryl Lee, how are you? Hi, Snow Remover. Jimmy, could you please lower that a little? Thank you. Okay. Yes, Jeannie, we are. Big, crazy family. That's good, Shirley. So apparently that Nashville shooter, which I suspected, and I said when we first read about it, is allegedly targeted that pastor's daughter. And I had a feeling that she was targeted. But the pastor apparently had been counseling or had counseled the shooter. And allegedly she targeted the little girl to punish the pastor. A lot of loss this week, right? According to a media source, the former Covenant School pastor, Jim Bachman, said that 28-year-old Audrey Hale appeared to be searching for Chad Scruggs, who had been reportedly providing private counseling sessions to Hale, who had recently begun using the name Aiden and male pronouns before the incident. What I'm hearing, he was providing counseling for Hale, and something didn't sit right with her, Bachman said. If Hale found Chad and tried to kill him, I don't know if Hale would have left his daughter alone. Nashville police, however, have said they have no evidence to indicate that Hale targeted any individuals, although they say they suspected the shooter targeted the school. Obviously, they found a manifesto on maps. Yeah, that's given. But they're saying that they think that she went to look for him and then found his daughter. So, seems to be the case there. Okay. And here's, while we're talking about school, this is a very tragic, absolutely tragic, but former Florida principal, is facing charges after a second grandchild dies while in her care. 65-year-old Tracy Nix is facing aggravated manslaughter charges after her 11-month-old granddaughter, Uriel Schock, pictured on the left, was found deceased in a hot vehicle on November 1st, 2022. The incident happened at the former principal's home in Wauchula. Temperatures that day reached 90 degrees. A Hardy County Sheriff's Office complaint affidavit indicated that Nix was practicing piano while Uriel passed away inside a Lexus SUV that was parked in the front yard with its windows rolled up. When one of Nix's grandsons arrived, she claimed she all of a sudden realized the infant was still in the vehicle. The former principal's husband, Nunne Nix, retrieved Uriel from the vehicle and began CPR. Nix was babysitting Uriel on the day in question when the baby's mother was out getting her hair done. Uriel's parents, Kayla and Drew Schock, spoke to a news team following the incident. And Drew said, and that it actually just effing happened twice in our lifetime. Uriel's 1-year-old brother, Ezra, pictured right, was in Nix's care in 2021, 3 days before Christmas, when he drowned in a nearby pond. Kayla said she rushed to Nix's home after Drew got a call that something happened to her son. I could see the helicopter landing, Kayla said. I didn't look. When there was a stop sign, adding that she was driving so fast to the scene that she got into a head-on collision with another driver. All of my airbags went off. I don't remember how I got out, but I got out and I started running to my parents' house at that point. I don't have shoes. I'm just running. That was my desperation to get to my son. Kayla said she never looked at the incident report on the boy's death after investigators withheld information from me per my request, per my doctor's advice, that any information that would work me up or make me emotionally distressful would be harmful to my unborn child. I was told unless I believed that my mom held my son's head under the water and intentionally killed him, that there was nothing else they could do about my son's death. Kayla was pregnant with Uriel at the time and only knew that Nick said she fell asleep when Ezra wandered to the pond. The incident report states that Nick said she was on the sofa while her husband was rocking Ezra in a recliner. Mr. Nick said the baby fell asleep on the recliner, and he left the child with his wife, who was awake on the sofa, to go run errands. And apparently this is the report. I responded to the incident location, a dwelling property, in reference to a child drowning incident. EMS was on scene, tending to the victim on my arrival. The homeowner's Nunne Nix was outside, and he told me his wife, Tracy Nix, was inside changing clothes. I determined the following series of events based on statements made to me by the Nixes and their neighbor. The victim was being supervised by his grandparents, Mr. and Mrs. Nix, at their home. No one else was at the home. There is a large pond that is stocked with ducks located on the west side of the property within feet of their home. Mr. Nix was rocking the victim in a recliner in the living room. His wife was on an adjacent sofa. Mr. Nix stated that he left the victim sleeping in the recliner and left his wife, who he said was awake, to go to Walmart and run some errands. Mrs. Nix corroborated this, but told me that she had drifted off to sleep and was not awake when her husband left. At some point, Mrs. Nix awoke and couldn't find the victim. She told me the garage entrance door was ajar. She searched outside for the victim and drove her vehicle to the end of the driveway and looked down. At some point, she called her husband and informed him she couldn't find the victim. She said as she turned around to drive back to the residence, she saw the victim face down in the pond. She drove over to him and pulled him out of the water and started CPR that she had been trained on working for the school system. She did not call 911. A neighbor heard her screaming and told me he saw Mrs. Nix giving CPR to the victim on the ground. He said her vehicle was parked along the fence in the front yard, consistent with her statements to me. He never saw the victim in the water, nor did he see Mrs. Nix pull the victim from the water. He stated when he returned to the yard, Mr. Nix had arrived and joined Mrs. Nix in performing CPR. Mr. Nix consented for me to enter his home. He showed me the living room layout and described where everyone had been seated. He confirmed that he used the garage door to leave the home. I advised him that his wife stated she found the door ajar, and he shook his head and said he closed the door. I asked Mr. Nix how much time had elapsed when he left for Walmart and when he received a call from his wife. 15, 20, 25 minutes. He said it could have been up to an hour. I measured the distance from the floor to the door handle as 35 inches. The handle was a pull handle and not a knob-style fixture, which could be easily opened by the victim if they could reach it to pull down on it. I asked Mr. Nix if they had any issues with the victim opening doors before, and he indicated interior doors. I was informed the victim was airlifted to TGH with a faint pulse. Both parents were called by Mr. Nix and responded to the scene prior to the victim being transported. I checked the CID system and found no prior incidents involving child abuse or neglect. At this time, the incident appears to be a tragic accident involving non-criminal negligence. In order to establish the elements of child neglect, the defendant must expose the victim to personal injury through culpable negligence. End of report. Supplemental. I spoke with TGH PCU unit Dr. Azamani by phone regarding the victim's status. The victim would be examined by the medical examiner, and records could be obtained by calling the investigative division. I received the following email from Lieutenant D. Drake. This information is only to inform you that I spoke to Dr. Anton Raja from Tampa General Hospital hospital. Dr. Raja advised that the infant on the above date, I responded to Hardee County, Florida, to assist with the incident. Upon arrival, I activated my emergency lights and parked my patrol vehicle in front of the residence. I directed traffic around the helicopter landing zone. While directing traffic, a white SUV arrived. A female subject exited the SUV, verbally stated she was involved in a traffic crash believed to be at intersections. The subject verbally stated she left the traffic crash to come check on their child at this location. I directed this subject to the residence. I forwarded the traffic crash information to dispatch. Dispatch advised that they are aware of the traffic crash. I then responded to the intersection. Upon arrival, I observed 2 wrecked vehicles. Deputies were already on scene, providing aid to subjects involved in the crash. I parked my patrol vehicle in the intersection and directed traffic around the crash site. I provided dispatch with tag numbers for both of the wrecked vehicles. Hardee County Fire Rescue arrived shortly after my arrival. I continued to direct traffic in the intersection until Fire Rescue cleared the scene. I had no further involvement in the case. On the above date, I spoke with Blake from Tampa Medical Examiner's office. Blake is going to email me a copy of the ME report. I asked Blake if the doctor was able to measure the reach of the child. Blake stated that there was not a separate note for that, but did take my name and number down to have the doctor call me back. On the above date, I spoke with Tampa Medical Examiner Dr. Webb. Dr. Webb stated that when asked that E-Shock's maximum reach was 36 inches from the tip of his fingers to the foot. On the above date, I arrived at the incident location and I took some photographs. I met with Nunn next. Nunn allowed me access to whatever I needed to take pictures. Nunn was asked that he and Tracy come to the Hardee County Sheriff's Office for a formal interview. Tracy asked for it to be tomorrow, 12/30/2021, as she wanted to complete her packing up of Christmas items. I advised them that it was totally up to them. They agreed on the time of 10 a.m. I finished up my pictures and left without further contact. The pictures will be entered into evidence, nothing else further. On the above date, the Nixes arrived at the scheduled time for their interviews. I spoke with Nunn Nix first, and this is a summary of the conversation. He and Tracy were both inside the home with Ezra Shock. Nunn was rocking Ezra in the recliner when Ezra fell asleep. Nunn had some errands to run and he left. When he left, Tracy was awake. Nunn stated that he pulled the door to the garage shut and placed a metal dock sound doorstop behind the door. Nunn says he does this because of Ezra being able to open doors now, and this prevents Ezra from being able to do this. Nunn stated that Ezra did not like water, that he hated getting a bath. Ezra was mobile and walked around the home freely. Nunn and Tracy would monitor him, of course. Nunn stated that he would take Ezra on the side by side and see the duck and rest of the animals. Nunn said that Ezra was able to grab the door handles and open doors. Nunn stated that he has seen Ezra grab the door handle of the double doors, and the deadbolt was the only thing that prevented him from getting the door open. Nunn stated that he left and was gone for about 2 hours. Nunn left and got gas. He then went to the bank, then grocery shopping at Walmart. He then got the call from Tracy and was completed checking out and on his way home. When Nunn arrived home, Tracy was still in her pajamas and giving CPR to Ezra. Nunn told Tracy that EMS would soon be here to change clothes. She left and went inside. Nunn stayed with Ezra and continued CPR until EMS arrived. Next is this summary of the interview with Tracy Nix. Tracy stated that she and Nunn were both in the home with Ezra. She thought it was special that Nunn was rocking Ezra in the chair. Tracy said Ezra fell asleep, and since Nunn needed to run errands, he left. Tracy stated she was sitting with her feet up, then ended up falling asleep. Tracy stated that this most likely happened due to redacted. Tracy stated that this can cause her to be tired. Tracy stated that at night she will take redacted and redacted for redacted. Hold on. Tracy stated that she has been taking this regime for about 15 years, and when she wakes up, she is refreshed and wide awake. She was not sure what made her fall asleep this morning. Tracy stated that normally when Nunn leaves, he puts the metal door stopper, dachshund, up against the door because their cat can open the door. Tracy stated that Ezra cannot open the door, and therefore it was not needed for that. Tracy stated that she has never seen Ezra open any doors in the home and was unaware that he would be able to pull down on the handle-style door. Tracy stated that she woke up unsure of how long she was asleep, and she stated that she began looking for Ezra inside. The search then went outside, looking around the home. Tracy stated that she got into her car and drove to the end of her long driveway, approximately 343 feet. Tracy then turned east on redacted and drove to the stop sign, approximately 817 feet. Tracy stated that she then turned around and drove around the same distance west past her house. This is about redacted. Tracy then turned around thinking the 16-month-old couldn't have walked that far. Tracy stated that she believed that this is when she called Nunn. He was completing his checkout and was en route. Tracy stated that as she was driving back down her driveway, she's not sure why, but she looked over and seen a white item in the pond. She wasn't sure what it was, thinking it was anything other than Ezra. She drove in that direction and realized that it was Ezra. She jumped out of her vehicle and ran to the water. Ezra was face down, about in knee-deep of water. Tracy stated that she began CPR. After this is when Nunn arrived, and he took over CPR, while Tracy changed her clothes. Detective Ward measured the door that Ezra came out of. The handle measured 35 inches. According to the medical examiner, Ezra's reach would have been 36 inches. The door handle in question is a lever-style handle. It has a downward swoop to it, meaning that the lowest point is about 34.5. Looking at the door, there was a turnstile deadbolt on the inside. Was the turn part with the key access part facing the garage? There was no toddler door handle safety guard on this door or any other door that I could see. I called Tracy via the phone as I needed the name of her medication. She told me that she has one bottle of redacted, the redacted, and redacted. Tracy stated that she most likely went to bed at 21:30, 2200 hours and woke up around 9:30 to 10. Complaint affidavit for child neglect will be filed and forwarded with the SAO for further review. Now, here we go. Kayla didn't trust Tracy Nix at all after the incident, but eventually decided that she loved her mother and wanted her to be a part of Uriel's life. We were anxious, but I loved my mother, and I am a daughter that wanted her mom in her life in some capacity, and in that moment I thought that I could believe in second chances. The second chance involved the defendant watching Uriel while supervised, which didn't produce any red flags. Then Kayla decided to allow her mother to babysit Uriel. Within hours, police arrived to tell her that Uriel was dead. You couldn't fathom it happening twice, Drew said. Somebody has to answer for that. Tracy Nix, a former principal in Hardy County, could face between 12 to 30 years in prison if convicted. Because somebody dies doesn't necessarily mean that somebody has to pay, Nix's lawyer William Fletcher said. This obviously was an accident, and the question was, is it culpable negligence? Wow, that is crazy. Both of her grandchildren. Both of her grandchildren. Oh my gosh. An 11-month-old and a 16-month-old. That is crazy. Oh my gosh, those poor parents. Okay, let's see here. The judge in the Alex Murdaugh case is surprised at the quick jury decision. Judge Clifton Newman said during a speech at his alma mater, Cleveland State University, that the defense's request to visit the crime scene was detrimental, as it benefited the prosecution. When they go back to deliberate, they don't want to look at those 800 exhibits. They don't want to spend their time combing through everything they have laboriously sat there and listened to for that period of time. Newman went on to explain why he allowed evidence of Murdaugh's financial crimes to be shown to the jury during the trial. Newman said the defense questioning about Murdaugh's character opened the door for the prosecution to show evidence of Murdaugh stealing money from his law firm and clients. Newman said he was not shocked that the jury... Oh, I'm so sorry. He's not shocked that the jury spent only 3 hours in deliberation. Once the defendant takes the stand and testifies, almost everything is fair game at that point. We'll see how that goes. I think the record speaks for itself. Murdaugh has appealed his murder convictions. Today reported that Newman has been assigned to preside over Murdaugh's fraud trial. Though Newman is required to retire this year as he turns 72, he may remain on the bench past that if the trial goes into next year. He was not surprised. Can't even speak today. So then Anna Walshe, remember Anna Walshe from Massachusetts? Body's never been found, but she's presumed dead. And Brian Walshe, her husband, was indicted by a grand jury for her murder. A Massachusetts grand jury indicted Brian Walshe for the murder of his real estate executive wife, Anna. She's been missing since January 1st. Anna Walshe was 39 years old when she was reported missing by her employer on January 4th. Her husband said he hadn't seen her since she left for the airport January 1st, but investigators found no evidence that Anna ever boarded a flight to Washington, D.C., where she worked, nor had she ever taken a ride share from her home, as her husband said. Brian Walshe was arrested in January, charged with hindering a missing persons investigation after police determined he lied about his wife's whereabouts on January 1st and 2nd. Days later, he was charged with murder. Brian Walshe entered a plea of not guilty to the charge of murder at his Quincy District Court arraignment in January. The Norfolk District Attorney Michael W. Morrissey said the indictment moves the case to the Norfolk Superior Court, where it will be arraigned anew in the coming weeks. The date has not been set. In addition to murder, the grand jury handed up indictments for misleading a police investigation, obstruction of justice, and for improper conveyance of a human body. Walshe, who's 48, is being held without bond. He faces a mandatory sentence of life without parole if he's found guilty. And then we've got, and I just want to see if this is still an active Amber Alert for this little boy whose mother was found dead. Let me just see. So it looks like Amber Alert, yes, is still issued. So we've got an Amber Alert for a Talon Mosley. He was last seen in St. Petersburg, Florida. It was issued Thursday evening. It's a 2-year-old child, last seen in the area of 11,600 block of 4th Street North, and went missing Wednesday. St. Petersburg detectives say the situation is connected with a homicide investigation. At 2:30 p.m. Thursday, the body of a 20-year-old woman, Passion Jeffrey, was found inside her St. Petersburg apartment. Talon Mosley is the victim's son. The child could be in danger, and a search is underway for his whereabouts. He has brown hair and brown eyes. He's 2 feet tall. He weighs 30 pounds. Anyone with information concerning the whereabouts of Talon is asked to call the Florida Department of Law Enforcement at 1-888-356-4774 or the St. Petersburg Police Department 727-893-7780 or just call 911. Hopefully he's found. It'd be crazy. Let's see, we've done Anna, we've done the school shooter, we've done Gwyneth Paltrow next. So, a Utah jury found Gwyneth Paltrow, found for her in her lawsuit with retired optometrist Terry Sanderson over a crash on a ski slope in 2016. The verdict read in court ascribed 100% of the fault for the accident to Sanderson and awarded Paltrow the symbolic dollar she sought. Paltrow declined to speak about the verdict, but a statement was released on her behalf. And I quote, "I felt the acquiescing to a false claim comprised my integrity. The statement said, I am pleased with the outcome and I appreciate all of the hard work of Judge Holmberg and the jury and thank them for their thoughtfulness in handling this case. Sanderson, who's 76, claimed that Gwyneth Paltrow crashed into him on a beginner's slope in the Deer Valley Resort in 2016, which caused him significant injuries. He initially sought more than $3 million in damages, but that was whittled down to $300,000 by the time the case went to trial. He claimed that Gwyneth Paltrow was out of control on the slopes and slammed into him, leaving him with 4 broken ribs, a concussion, and symptoms that have continued in the years since the accident. But Paltrow testified that it was Sanderson who skied into her from behind, and she even yelled at him for doing so. It was likely Sanderson's own testimony on Wednesday that sealed his fate. The retired optometrist took the stand, and Gwyneth Paltrow's attorney, Stephen Owens, played slide after slide of Sanderson's world travels after the accident, showing him physically active and not a recluse as he claimed to have become. With each slide, Owens asked Sanderson to describe where he was and what he was doing. He doesn't tell his doctors he's flying all over the world and that he's biking, that he's the poster boy for fitness at age 75. He's posting online every darn thing. This isn't like me sending out a private investigator and trying to find pictures. All I have to do is type Terry Sanderson, and my goodness, that man's Mr. Activity. Gwyneth Paltrow was on the slopes at the time of the accident with her then boyfriend, Brad Falchuk, now her husband, and their children. I also heard that he would have to pay attorney fees, which could be very, very costly. So they didn't mention that. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Oh my goodness. Okay, we had something else here. Hang on. Remember the teacher, that Spanish teacher that was murdered by the students? Well, one of them is going to testify against the other. Jeremy Goodale and Willard Millard are both charged with first-degree murder for the beating death of Nohema Graber in November of 2021. Prosecutors suggested they killed the 66-year-old teacher in a dispute over their grades. They're being tried as adults. Miller's trial is set to begin in April. Gosh, every trial in the world. And in case you don't know, we are set up to stream the audio for the Letitia Stalk trial. Everything is supposed to be set up. So with the court, and I really hope it goes through and everything is. So please share that out there, and we will play it without interruption, and just follow it along. And we're looking forward to it. So Miller's trial is set to begin in April, and Goodale's in May, and the revelation that Goodale would be testifying against Miller came Wednesday during a hearing on another attempt by Miller's attorney to suppress evidence against his client. Judge Sean Showers had previously ruled against attorney Nathan Olson that Miller was wrongfully denied access to an attorney and that there were errors in the search warrant. While Olson had appealed the ruling, the new motion to suppress evidence says that investigators violated Goodale's constitutional rights in order to produce evidence against Miller. Jefferson County Attorney Chauncey Moulding responded that Olson was asserting a violation of Goodale's rights on Goodale's behalf. And told the court that Mr. Goodale has turned state's evidence and is listed as a witness against Miller. No indication of a plea deal for Goodale appears in public court records, and his attorneys declined to comment. Showers listened to the arguments by Orson and Moulding and said he'd issue a written ruling as soon as I can. Okay. There is where is our other, hang on, we've got to go to Orrin and Orson update, so hang on. Okay. Oh my goodness. So the brothers 3 and 4, Orrin and Orson. Let's see if I can get there. Hold on. Were reported missing from their California City home on December 21st, 2020. Parents came out, the adopted parents had this big story about the kids going outside while they were wrapping Christmas presents. That was all a farce, because that's not when they went missing. It wasn't in December. They allegedly were killed in September of 2020, months before. And that's evidence from an exhaustive investigation that has pinpointed Orrin and Orson having died in September of 2020, 3 months before they were reported missing and before those adoptive parents were standing out there in the street with the microphone and telling this elaborate farce of a story. In opening statements, the prosecution alleged the West adopted Orrin and Orson, who were given the names Classic and Sincere Pettis at birth, with the intention of living off the money they receive for providing foster care. Defense attorneys countered, saying that California City was punishing the West for being different and that officials would rather blame them than continue to search for the boys. Okay, so let's see now who our witnesses are. Oh my goodness. Oh, we're going to go over the Letitia. I can't write everything in the headlines. I mean, in the headline of the video. Because we're going to go over the witness list for Letitia Stout in a minute here. Don't understand why. What happened to, hold on a minute. What is going on with this? Well, something's up with this because I saw court in session today, and now it's not looking like they had anything. Did anybody see this case today? Something is really, took me forever to find it. And then when I found something that looked like it was a news show. And now all I can see are the opening arguments that we talked about yesterday. And I'm not seeing... Oh, hold on a minute. Unless this is it. Sorry. California City Police Officer Joshua Flores testified he didn't turn on his body-worn camera when first talking with neighbors about the area, and that he only activated it at certain moments in the night. He testified that he didn't write an official report documenting his interviews. Former California City Police Officer Anthony Cabrales testified that he doesn't recall talking with Child Protective Services on December 21st of 2020 when social workers were asked to check if Trezell and Jacqueline had truly adopted Orrin and Orson. Torres Stallings showed a CPS communications log of the incident, which indicated social workers conferred with someone named Officer Anthony Cabrales. Testified he was the only officer named Anthony in the police department, yet he doesn't remember being contacted by CPS on December 21st of 2020. When talking with neighbors that day, Cabrales testified he didn't write in his report how many people he spoke with or note their contact information. Officers didn't go into houses surrounding the West's California City home to try to find the boys or enter any residences on December 21st, Cabrales testified. There was only one neighbor whose video footage was mentioned in Cabrales' police report and ultimately reviewed by him, even though the officer noted cameras affixed to other homes surrounding the West's property. Cabrales said he was unsure if on the night that the boys were reported missing, if officers called or searched homes of sex offenders in California City, but these searches happened later in the investigation, the officer said. Testimony is scheduled to continue on Wednesday. Alexia Torres Stallings. Hold on. Oh, so the defense opted to withhold their opening statements until later. Torres Stallings probed what may have been numerous missteps by the California City police officers on December 21st of 2020 when they went to the home of Trezell and Jacqueline West as part of an initial investigation into the report of missing children. Okay, let's go now to Letitia Stalk. Okay, let me get this out, please. There we go. Hang on 1 second, because Letitia. That one I had, and let me go back. To thing here. What in the heck happened? Here we go. Okay. Do through present. This is the one we need. This is the one we need. Okay, here's the people's list of potential witnesses. So it's long. Let's bring it over. Let's make it larger. Filed March 6, 2023. The lay witnesses include Brenda Acquard, Brooke Adamick, Celeste Alvarado, Adam Blaze, Amy Lowry Bolton, Jamie Borders, Cynthia Brower, Brandon Bullard, Brett Burks, Luke Devlin, Courtney Devine, Sean Drake, Roderick Drayton, that's the neighbor with the video, Jamie Duckworth, Lee Egan, she's a reporter, Michelle Fox, Matthew Goins, Todd Heller, Leslie Hicks, Landon Hyatt, that is the mother. Brian Honeywell, Greg Horsley, Harley Hunt, that's Letitia's daughter, Josh Johnson, Amy Lang, Deborah Locklear, Katrina Locklear, Amy Lowry, she's down there twice, isn't she? Amy Lowry Bolton, Amy Lowry. Dakota Locklear Lowry, Ian Marks, Nicole Marks, Shannon Malacote, Ben Miller, Caleb Mills, Nicole Mobley, Stuart Montenegro, Nora Mosquera, William Macaulay, Alexandra Pace, Alexis Pack, Macon Ponder, Ricardo Price, Julia Pugh, Jason Reynolds, Mark Riggs, Jamie Sanchez, Al Stout, that's Gannon's father, Lena Stout, Gannon's sister, Levi Suarez, Tyler Torello, Sidney Walton, Spencer Wilson, John Wotan. Law enforcement, CSI Brian Annen, Officer Nicholas Bain, CSI Brooke Bell, CSI Alyssa Beresford, Sergeant Pamela Castro, Detective Eric Davis, Sergeant Roy Ditzler, Officer Kevin Gatewood, Analyst Stephanie Happ, Analyst Sherry Holes, CSI Christian Lywer, Officer Tanisha Love, Detective Christopher Mace, Analyst Donna Manog, CSPD Brian Rogers, District Attorney's Office Kevin Clark, Investigator Caitlin Colvin, Investigator Kim Martinez, Investigator Stephanie Courtney, Chief Investigator Brett Poole, Investigator Cecil Weir, Detective El Paso Sheriff's Office Detective Jake Abenshon, Detective Jennifer Arndt, Detective Michael Bauman, Catherine Beckel, Detective Jessica Beckel, Detective Michael Boggs, Detective Nicholas Bricklick, Christina Cervantes, Deputy Sean Donahue, Nicolette Dubois, Detective Timothy Farrell, Nicole Fraham, Deputy Christopher Ganstein, Detective David Glenn, Stephanie Hare, Deputy Jason Hess, Sergeant Rosario Hubble, Detective Catherine Houston, Deputy Michaela James, Deputy Amanda Kelsey, Detective Carly Mao, Lieutenant David Manzanilla, Lieutenant Mitchell Mihalko, Detective Lisa Montville, Deputy Raina McClellan, Detective Courtney McCormick, Detective Michael Parker, Detective Christina Perry, Detective John Price, Detective Mark Riley, Detective Vincent Sapp, Lieutenant John Sarkisson, Detective Robert Sirios, Sergeant Kurt Smith, Kevin Cipher, Detective Peter Vigil, Detective Bradley Whitehead, Detective Marissa Williams, Deputy Patrick Yunkin, FBI, Agent Andrew Cohen, Agent Amber Cronan, Agent Stephen DeFrance, Agent David Donati, Dwight Falkowski, Agent Matthew Fleming, Agent Deborah Gordon, Special Agent Jonathan Grusing, Agent Kevin Hoyland, Agent Casey Hughes. Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Analyst Trevor Seifert, Myrtle Beach Police Department, J.G. Cardona, Detective Pete Woods, Rhode Island State Police. That's interesting, Rhode Island State Police. Detective Corporal Mark Album, Lieutenant John H. Grassel, Lieutenant Thomas Joggs, Ryan Mahoney. Cranston, Rhode Island Police Department, Detective Warren Hensler. Santa Rosa County Sheriff's Office, Detective Jason Yoder. CSI Kelly Smith, Jennifer Fuqua. Search and Rescue, Rebecca King. Experts, Dr. Kim Look, Dr. Hal Wartzel. Bevel Gardner and Associates, Tom Griffin. Colorado State Mental Health Institute at Pueblo, Dr. B. Thomas Gray, Dr. Jackie Grimmett, Dr. Naoko Hashimoto, Dr. Loandra Torres, the El Paso County Coroner's Office, Amanda Bond, Dr. Leon Kelly, Sandy Wilson, El Paso County Criminal Justice Center, Dr. Christine Moore, Holly Werstein, Medical Examiner, District 6, Largo, Florida, Dr. Susan Ignacio, MD. UC Health Memorial Central, Amanda Van Nest, FNE. All right, and then defense witness list. Attorneys for the defendant Letitia Stalk endorse the following witness, and there's only one, Dr. Rhonda Niederhauser, Colorado Springs, Colorado. One witness for the defense. Yes, 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 yes. Now on March 1st, there was this matter comes before the court. This matter is set to commence for trial on March 20th. At times in the past, the defendant has chosen not to appear for court proceedings. Defendant must appear for each day of trial. If defendant appears and chooses not to be present for trial, she will be held in a holding cell in the courthouse, and the court will have her brought to the courtroom at various times during the day to see if she has changed her mind regarding attending her trial. This will be the process each day defendant chooses not to be present for the trial. However, defendant must be transported to the courthouse every day on which trial is held. And pursuant to CRS, the court orders the El Paso County Sheriff's Office to use all force reasonably necessary to secure the presence of the defendant at the El Paso County Combined Courts for each day of her trial, so ordered this first day of March 2023 by the court. Okay, and let's see. All right, so I think, let's see now. What's going on in here, huh? Trying to see what's going on here in the if there's anything else we need to talk about. Okay, I don't think so, really. Looks like that's about it. What's the matter, Al? What's going on? What are you lost about? How long will that trial take? A long, long time. It's supposed to take a long time. I think they said it could take 6 weeks or so. I don't know. Scooter was in here tonight. She's just lurking. Oh. Okay. Oh, Gaelic is asking about Scooter? Okay. Gaelic. Okay. All right. Hi, Rich Guillaume. How are you? Hi, Chris Ree. Hi, Debbie D. Oh, you were just making rainbows? Rainbows? I don't see rainbows. I don't know. Hi, LMNW. Hi, Vicky Morawski. I live in Colorado, and this is a very high-profile case. My daughter lives in Colorado Springs, where Gannon lived with his family. Oh, Vicky Morawski. I always get you confused with like a Vicky Kazmierek, or that used to always comment on this doll that I had, the one with the music. Is your daughter going to go to the courthouse? Is your daughter going to the trial? Nightbite is posting a lot tonight. Right. Nightbot is posting a lot. Is she going? So April's a very, 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 very big month with court trials. We have Letitia, the suitcase, Lori Vallow, Orrin and Orson Wilson. What was the other one I just mentioned that was going to court that he just said? What one did we just say that was going to court? Which one did we just say? I didn't. I'm going to do the Delphi update. Thank you for reminding me. And somebody named Gaelic is looking for you and says they'd like to know if you've left the show. Would you please tell them if you've left the show? Okay. Let me get that. Yes, I have to get that. Keegan, it's a roundabout Delphi update. It's somebody that's involved with the case, okay? And he pled guilty to a bunch of things today. Keegan Kline. So let's get that up here. But what was the other case I just said? I said, oh gosh, what did I say? Which? What did I say? Tell me what I said. He was expected to plead guilty Thursday to multiple charges connected to the child exploitation. And his guilty plea contains no guarantee that he's going to get any special treatment. So Keegan Kline, who's been in the Miami County Jail since the summer of 2020 and is accused of at least 25 counts of child exploitation, child P, and other charges that landed him in the crosshairs of investigators trying to solve the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German. Kline allegedly communicated via social media with Libby the night before her death, and on Thursday, the 28-year-old Peru man is set to plead guilty to more than 24 counts lodged against him, according to the motion filed by the deputy prosecutor Courtney Alwine late last week. Nowhere in the motion is there any indication of a reduction or a dismissal of charges in consideration of his guilty plea, or a promise by Kline to help detectives and prosecutors in any future undetermined criminal investigations. It is unusual for there to be a situation where a defendant suddenly decides to plead guilty, especially so soon before trial, without getting some sort of deal or some sort of inducement, whether large or small, in order to persuade him to change his mind. So it's a little strange that there is no sign that Keegan Kline has gotten any sort of inducement to do this. Keegan's apparent change of his not guilty plea came 1 month after the state presented its witness list's intentions to call not only investigators to the stand, but also family and friends to testify at Kline's scheduled trial in May. The upside for Keegan Kline to plead guilty is to avoid a trial would be, for one thing, all of the details and the facts, some of which I'm sure he would find embarrassing, might not be revealed to the public. Certainly when he saw the witness list in the trial come out a couple of weeks ago, it included the names of people who are quite close to him. And it's entirely possible that Keegan Kline has spent some time thinking about what those people might say in open court and to the world. The advantage to the state to enter the plea agreement to all charges would be reduced investment of preparation, time, and budget for the trial, and for the elimination of the uncertainty of a jury verdict. The state also agreed to stop referring to Kline's alleged victims as juveniles. Keegan Kline has such an uncomfortable relationship with the truth. Let's see here. Who is this speaking? Greenlee. And Greenlee. The podcast host, Is a podcast host said that I will be looking forward to see whether or not he actually pleads guilty, as his lawyers indicate he will. Keegan Kline has a tendency to make promises and say things and not live up to them. So let's see now, have they, attorney says, did they, oh, he did, and he did. And he followed through this time. He pled guilty to 25 counts of child pay and all of that. During his guilty plea before the Miami Circuit Judge, Timothy Spar, defense attorney Andrew AITA read out loud to the courtroom and his client each count and the specific details of the evidence and whether the contents were pornographic videos, photographs, and dialogue or fake identities and attempts to destroy evidence. AITA related that one of Kline's victims was less than 12 years old. She's only 14. AITA quoted a message posted by his client referring to another victim. Kline pled guilty to 13 level 5 felonies, which carry a maximum 6-year prison sentence, and 12 level 6 felonies, which are punishable by a maximum 30 months in prison. His sentencing will be on May 18th, and Judge Spar will consider not only the term, but also whether those sentences will run concurrently or consecutively. Keegan Kline has been in jail for 31 months. Time served will no doubt be considered. The judge directed the Miami County Probation Service to conduct Kline's pre-sentence investigation. Kline sat at the defense table, handcuffed in an orange jumpsuit, and told the court he was self-diagnosed as a bipolar and schizophrenic. During an interview with investigators at the time of his pretrial incarceration in the summer of 2020 and an interview with a reporter in December of 2021, Kline described his own troubled upbringing, indicating that he had shared narcotics with a family member who he said had access to his social media account. During today's hearing, AITA read into the record that his client, under the false social media identities of Anthony Schatz and Emily Ann, 45, to communicate with young girls as he solicited them for sexual content. Aside from acknowledgement of his criminal acts, Kline offered no explanation or apology to the court or his victims. Presumably, he will be provided an opportunity to make such comments at his sentencing. It was as the persona Anthony Schatz that investigators found Kline first communicated with Libby the night before she was murdered, along with Abby near Deer Creek in Carroll County. Social media messages uncovered by investigators indicate that Libby thought she was to meet Anthony Schatz the next day on the Monon High Bridge. The evidence will remain under seal, though Kline acknowledged that he had viewed the unredacted images along with his attorney. And that's the end of that. And that is the end of that. Okay, now. All that to say, Kline diagnosed himself as crazy, you say, Vicky. Hi, Sassy Darcy. Yeah, that's what I said, that there were 25 charges, that he, 13 level 5, 12 level 6. That was some time ago that they reduced the 5. That wasn't because of the plea deal, though. Okay. So, hi, Deputy. Hey, it's Bank. Hey. Okay, I guess I'll open up the panel since we're done with that. And, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore right now. Okay. Let's see. There we go. All right. And let me check something else here. Let's see. Oh, well, that's fast. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. Let's see. So I've got something here. This says, I'm a 31-year-old female. I'm pregnant with a girl. My husband, 33, has a younger brother who's 31, who he's very close to. However, I told my husband I don't feel comfortable with the idea of his brother spending time with my daughter once she's born. It's not because of my brother-in-law himself. We're not close, but he's fine. The issues are his life choices. He's not married. He has no intention of getting married or having kids, and he dates only for sexual purpose. He dates multiple women, and the only thing he has in common with them is that, like him, they are extremely good looking. He's highly intelligent, yet he has no interest in meaningful relationships. I spoke to him about his choices a few years ago, and after accusing me of being moralistic, he claims that he always uses protection and he never leads the women on, which I call BS on, as I can't imagine any woman with an increasing ticking biological clock would willingly be in a relationship when she knows it doesn't have a future. Not to mention, what woman would want to be with someone who may not even remember your name in a year's time? I mentioned this to my husband. However, he called me an a-hole and said that it was ridiculous to limit our daughter's access with her uncle just because I don't agree with his legal dating choices. Am I the a-hole? And then she says, I edit this to say I probably should clarify that he generally goes onto apps like Tinder, which makes it worse, as the women he dates tend to be of a certain type. Wow, lady. You are the a-hole.
I agree. Very judgmental.
Do you think... Let's see what the chat thinks. Hi, Christy Love. Hi, Bucky Ann.
Bucky.
Just write yes or no. Slow tonight. He's coming up. Yes or no, chat? Norma, hi. You say a-hole. Yeah. Tracy Richards, hi. Yes, Sue Scooter says yes. She's judgmental. Yes, she is. What time is it? It's 12. Okay. All right. Okay. My wife is a female, 31, and has some sort of obsession with being skinny, even though she's clinically and visibly obese. She already is seeing her therapist and doctor about it, so she learns to accept her body. I find her beautiful either way, but she keeps asking me whether I think she's skinny or not. I tell her that she is not skinny, but she is still beautiful, because I'm not going to support a delusional idea and enable her dysmorphia. Today we were at the mall, and she tried on this dress and was really excited and told me that she thinks it made her look slim, and asked if I agreed. I told her she looked great in the dress, but it doesn't make her look skinny, if that's what she was going for. She started crying and screamed at me for body shaming her and never supporting her. Am I the a-hole?
It depends on what skinny is to her.
Mm-hmm.
Has she been losing weight? Is she looking better than usual?
Right. You could say it makes you look slimmer or
Right.
more slim.
Right.
You know, I don't... Or it's flattering, or it really accentuates your figure, or really shows you're working
really
out.
Puts the person on the spot, to ask a question like that. Like, doesn't it put them on the spot,
Yeah. Norma says, can you read it again, please? Seriously, Norma? Okay. All right. My wife is 31. She has some sort of obsession with being skinny, even though she's clinically and visibly obese. She already is seeing her therapist and doctor about it, so she learns to accept her body. I find her beautiful either way, but she keeps asking me whether I think she's skinny or not. I tell her that she is not skinny, but she is still beautiful, because I'm not going to support a delusional idea and enable her dysmorphia. Today we were at the mall, and she tried on this dress and was really excited and told me that she thinks it made her look slim, and asked me if I agreed. I told her she looked great in the dress, but it doesn't make her look skinny if that's what she was going for. She started crying and screamed at me for body shaming her and never supporting her. Am I the a-hole? Al says yes. What do you think you should do, Al? Tell her that she looks skinny?
And I mean, even if you said to her, it doesn't really matter what I think. It matters how you feel about yourself. Then they would take that as, you don't like it. And you're just saying that to avoid answering.
Right. So Norma says yes and no. It's Bink says no.
If she thought that she looked skinny, why, and she was really happy, why ruin it for her? There's no reason.
Right. Well, I think he could have said, I think it accentuates your, like if she was working out, like Sharon said, and trying to lose weight, then he could say your weight loss. If she wasn't working out and lost any weight, he could say, I think it's very flattering.
Right.
But then she'd be like, but do I look skinny? But see, somebody could say skinny doesn't mean like, some people say skinny, but they don't mean like twiggy.
Right.
Okay, like there could be a heavier person who might have lost some weight and has a nice outfit and says, oh, do I look thin or do I look slim? She doesn't actually mean, do I look like Twiggy? But I think she means, do I look like I've lost weight or this is flattering to my figure, whatever it is. So he could have said, yeah, that looks really good on you. That really accentuates, your weight loss, or it shows how your waist is goes in or something like that, or your legs or whatever body part is.
There must have been some reason why she thought she looked good in it. So just roll with it.
Right. But unless he didn't think she looked good in the dress. Right. But he said she looked good in the dress, but he said she didn't look slim. Okay. I think he's taking it too. I think he's taking it too literally.
Exactly.
I think when she just means like slimmer, probably.
Right.
Like does it slimmer down a little bit? Not that she looks slim like Twiggy.
Well, what do people think you're going to say? No, you look horrible.
Well, some people will. Some people will say, no, that's not flattering at all. That is not flattering at all.
Yeah, I guess so.
Just tell her she looked
or if they don't even say if that's flattering, they say, you know what? That's boxy. It doesn't really show off your figure.
I would never say that to her.
Well, you wouldn't want her to get something that makes her look ugly. Let's say, okay, even if someone is bigger, you've seen different things. Like if something is a boxy shirt and somebody has a nice waist and it doesn't go in on them, I'm not one of those friends that somebody puts on something and it makes them look horrible and you go, oh, that looks great, you should get it. Like those mean girls, because that's what they do. Somebody tries something on and they make them get the most hideous thing. And they go, oh, that looks great on you. Or you know what you should do? You should crew your hair off. Or you should get this, like, just an unflattering haircut. Yeah, but that's what mean girls do. They do. They tell their friends things that look horrible on them, and they lie to them. And when something looks good on the friend, they tell, get those off. That doesn't look good on you at all.
I would never do that.
Well, that's what mean girls.
My friend comes out of a dressing room with a dress on, and she's like, wow, this looks great on me. I love this. I love the way this looks on me. And I don't really like it. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say, yeah, you look great. You really do.
But let's say...
She's really happy with the way it looks. then I'm gonna be. Then there's a reason why she's happy with.
But
the way it looks.
let's say you're shopping with a friend, okay? Because some people don't know. That's why they have like stylists and stuff. Because some people don't really know what looks good on their body type. They don't know, and somebody may have a better eye. So, if it's a real friend and they put on a dress and they say, "What do you think about this dress? What do you think about this dress for that wedding or whatever?" And you'd say, "You know what? Like, let's say it's a real boxy dress. Well, somebody, even if they're have extra pounds on them, they might still have a really nice waist and features that could emphasize. So if they're wearing something real boxy, they're probably going to look bigger because you can't see anything.
Right.
So you might say, you know what? I saw a dress out there. I think might really accentuate your waist and look really nice. Why don't you try it on?"
Right.
That's what a good friend would do.
Right.
Okay? That one looks good, but I think there's one out there that probably would really accentuate your waist.
Right. Right. Well,
And
if it looked hideous, I would try to talk her out of it. But as long as she was happy with it, I wouldn't want to hurt her feelings.
right, but if you're at the store and she's
I
really
don't-
shopping for a dress and it really looks like boxing and doesn't show off her figure at all, I would try to steer her to something that would make it look better.
That's true.
If I lied to someone and I really thought it was horrible, my face, I have a terrible poker face.
That's
It
true.
would, my words wouldn't jive with my face, I don't think.
That's
So
true.
that would be my problem.
I would just hate to hurt their feelings and bring their spirits down when they
But
were so
I would
happy.
not try to do it like to hurt their feelings. I would say, that's a nice dress, but I just think, I saw one
Yeah.
out there that I think would look way better on you.
You're right, Carolyn.
Our mean girl at work just gave her 2-week notice because we shunned her when she was mean. Vicky. Hi, Billy boy. Yeah, I don't know. There's some people, there's a lot of people that don't really know what looks good on them.
True.
A lot of people. That's why sometimes you ask the people in the department store that are there, like, does this look
True.
good on me? I've asked people in the department store work there, because some of them are like stylists and they're really good, or like, what do you think would go with this skirt, or what should I do with this? And they'll tell you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I take pictures, like when I was picking out the dress for that wedding, I took pictures and sent them to my daughter, to Jimmy, of the 3 dresses I narrowed it down to.
Uh-huh.
And you know what? They picked a different one than I was going to leave with.
Really?
Yes. They both picked the same one, even the little boys. And their whole thing was that they liked the dress that was more fitted.
Oh.
So a lot of times I will do that. I'll always take a picture if I don't have somebody with me. Like my mother used to always be the best person. My sister and I would say, "What do we do if we don't have mom anymore?" Because we always knew she was honest, right? And
Right.
some people aren't, but I thought we'd never have but no, I'll take pictures in the fitting room and send them to them.
Just when someone's happy, I hate to disappoint them.
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Oh, I don't know. Try not to. But am I muffin topping in this tea or do what? Thank you, King Kong. We try. Thank you. I'm glad it brought you in here. Thank you very much. I don't know.
I'm just reading what Billy Boy wrote.
About his muffin top,
Did-
yeah.
Did someone ask him that question? Or
No, I think he was just talking about it.
I know.
You're right, Carolyn. You have the right answer. I concur.
Let's see. All right, let's see. My husband and I have 3 kids. They're aged 11 through 15. My mother-in-law has never been involved as a grandmother. She met all 3 kids, but we don't live in the same state, and she doesn't do phone calls, video chats, text cards, gifts, or anything with them. She used to talk to my husband sporadically and would just ask him to pass on her love. That's all fine. Our kids understand that an interested grandma would be really cool, but we just don't have that with the mother-in-law, and it's not their fault. In 2021, mother-in-law had a huge falling out with my husband. She asked him to bring the kids to visit her during a big COVID wave. Our youngest was just too young for a vaccine, so our family all vaxxed and masked to keep safe. Mother-in-law and her husband were anti-vax, anti-mask, vacationing in an RV park, posting on Facebook about boat parties, bars, karaoke, bingo, etc. My husband kept it simple. It would be too risky for our little girl to visit right now. Mother-in-law said it wouldn't be risky because she's always stayed home and didn't go out around other people. My husband didn't call her on the lie, but just stuck to it would be too risky. Mother-in-law ended up yelling at him about being selfish, unloving, and misinformed, and ended with, "I can't even talk to you anymore. I'll call you when I want to talk," and hung up. My husband and I talked about it and thought that we should call and apologize if she wants to restore some sort of relationship. She hasn't called since. Our cell phone number is posted on our business website homepage. Every few months, mother-in-law comments on our business social media. I tried calling, but I don't have your new number, so I guess you'll have to call me. Then, God gave us family, and you're missing it. Then, gee, I would sure love to be able to call and wish my grandson a happy birthday. When my husband's dad, mother-in-law's ex-husband, passed away a few months ago, mother-in-law texted a copy of a Facebook post from my husband's sister to my husband's aunt and asked her to text it to my husband to let him know. Another member of the family had already contacted my husband directly, and then a few days ago there was a card in the mailbox addressed to our youngest, and when she opened it, it was an Easter card with a $35 check that said, "Dear," their daughter's name, "this is our mailing address and phone number. We hope you'll want to call or write us sometimes. Love you so much, mother-in-law and her husband." We asked our daughter if she wanted to write back, and she said no. "Just put it in the trash, please. I don't even care about the money." So we did, though we gave the $35, though we did give her the $35 to replace the trashed check. That was stupid, okay. So it definitely seems like mother-in-law thinks any problem is on our side, and we've had some people say, "You should really just talk to her, that's family, etc." So am I the a-hole for ignoring all these attempts unless she actually calls? I say yes. And I think she's teaching her daughter to be really hateful. Chris Reese says yes. Be kind and loving. Yeah, I've my kid was like that. That's like just really hateful. Throw it in the trash. Most people on here are saying not the a-hole. Wow.
Wow, Cheryl Lee has 23 grandchildren.
Who does?
Cheryl Lee.
Oh, wow.
I know. Geez, that's a house full. And 2 great-grandchildren. Wow.
Okay. My parents didn't like the same names when they were expecting me. So Mom gave me a first name, Emily, and my dad gave me a middle name, Lake. I never liked my first name, and in school I used Lake. By the time I was 16, I decided when I was older I'd change the order of my names. I did that officially a year ago. My mom has always called me Emily and has always insisted on using it, even when I asked her to call me Lake. She told me it was passable as a middle name, but that she could not be the name everybody knows me as. Only it was, except for her. When I did legally change the name around, she was upset and told me she would still call me Emily. I asked her not to. She told me I couldn't expect her to toss away the name she lovingly gave me. I told her I should get to like my name too. She told me everyone loves Emily, it's timeless and sweet. And I said everyone except me, and to please respect it. She argued with my dad over it repeatedly. After more than a year now, I put my foot down and I told her to call me Lake and not Emily, or we're going to need to take a break from each other. I told her that she might like it, but she has made sure I never want to be called Emily again. I asked her how she'd like it if someone called her something she doesn't like. Mom told me I was being unreasonable, and people make allowances for parents usually. I told her she never once called me anything other than Emily, and it was making me wish I had dropped it entirely. She told me I was behaving like a spoiled brat. Am I the a-hole? Lake. There's Lake over there. That's a weird first name. Sorry, Lake. Lake is a body of water. But if that's what she wants, and she wants a relationship with her daughter, then call her daughter a Lake. Oh, gosh. Norma says she is being the a-hole.
Did her mother ever have any pet names she called her? Why can't she do that as a compromise?
No, she said her mother always called her Emily. Norma's the only one so far. Barb says most people don't like their names, but the name Lake is stupid. Well, I guess people are called River, so I don't know. But Lake just, I don't know, it doesn't sound like Pond. You don't call anybody Pond or Puddle. There's my kids, Lake, Puddle, and Pond.
Or Ocean. Or something. Do you?
Ocean?
I've heard people called Ocean.
Ocean. Might have heard one weird name called Ocean.
All right.
Stream. No.
Well, they have Brook.
Creek.
Brook is common.
Yeah.
Fairly common Brook.
Culvert.
Huh.
Driveway.
Sway.
Driveway. You have forest, but you don't have
Yes.
pasture. There's pasture out there.
Mhm.
Clearing. Garden.
I've never known anyone named Garden.
No, I'm saying that I'm just going through ones that you don't
Oh,
hear. But sky, you hear.
okay.
Sky.
Sky, yeah.
Clouds, no.
Sharon knows a raindrop, though.
I do. What's the matter? No? Good.
A cutie.
Not polite. You don't bite. Biting is not polite.
Bliss. Is that what you said? Or Ellis? What did you say? Bliss? Oh, Bills.
Bills.
I knew someone with the name River Moss.
Hmm.
My young daughter's crush is named Crash. Ah, Crash.
That sounds funny. Her crush is on Crash.
I named one of my dogs Happy. Is his
Yeah,
middle
I've
name
heard
Go
of people
Lucky?
naming their
Happy?
dogs Happy. Yeah, like High Speed said, Kate Moss. But I think of Kate Moss as a person, and I think of River Moss as a thing, like moss in a river.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's where my mind goes with it.
There goes Sharon.
Sharon sewing.
I know.
And if you go back in time, some of the names, they were so different, you know, that, like I was looking at a family tree on my mother's side, and the names, they don't use them. I can't even remember some of them.
Yeah, but they
They just
use all those names again now. It's crazy. These
Yeah.
names that you would never think would come into. They will use anything now.
There was a couple on there that I haven't.
Clara
I'll have
and
to look
Cora
again.
and Hazel, and you're like, what? Yeah, they're
You know
using
when
them.
they used to name people after like Ruby and Pearl and stuff.
Yeah, but those are coming back again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's some on there, I'll have to look at it again, that I haven't heard them come back. They're very strange names.
Like Bernice
You're right.
and Hertha
Zelda.
and Helga.
Zelda. Who looks at the baby and says, I'm going to call you Zelda?
Yeah.
Payson was a common name in the men, middle name in the men on my mother's side. You don't hear Payson a lot.
What's
But the
that?
name Payson as a middle name, there's men in my mother's family side, like her father and his father, middle name was Payson. But there's more unusual first names on that family tree that I just thought, wow, those are really weird.
After my dad died in late 2021, I went to stay with my now ex-best friend Clara. I just mentioned Clara. At her place outside New York City to get away for a bit. I'm from abroad. Everything was great until Clara got pregnant. She was trying despite the fact that her boyfriend told her he wasn't ready because she was desperate for a baby and to have him move in. The pregnancy meant her housemate, Marie, would have to move back to her hated conservative home state, which she hates. Clara was desperate to be rid of Marie, and it was part of why she plotted the pregnancy. Marie took her anger out on me behind Clara's back and told me Clara would cut me off as soon as I went home. Now she's pregnant, and that Clara only tolerates me because my family has money. I had custom artwork made to memorialize my dad while I was there. I went to a hotel in the city for a few days. Clara encouraged me to leave the artwork with her, saying it would be safe. I trusted her. But then Marie didn't let me back to pack. Clara did it. But she did not pack the artwork, despite being reminded a lot of stuff was missing, but all I cared about was the artwork. Marie had threatened to destroy it. I freaked out and I called Clara repeatedly. She got angry at me. Then she started ghosting me, saying she needed space. I should have respected it better. To be fair, but I was honest, because Marie was tweeting things I'd only ever told Clara in secrecy, and she threatened to tell Clara I'd kick their pets, which is a lie. I really wanted to clear it up. That was a year ago. Clara refused to ever talk to me properly again, and she hasn't returned my artwork despite repeated requests and being paid postage. She ignored PayPal invoices requesting to be paid back the value of the postage money and artwork. Clara has responded just twice in the last year. She promised to send the artwork back but didn't do it. She claims she's busy and I'm demanding, but she knows it's making my grief worse. And she has all the time in the world to socialize and even spend a gift card I gave her in December of 2021. Clara seems to be a shite friend. Marie recently tweeted Clara's been ignoring her and didn't bother to reach out after she had major surgery. I gave Clara $3,000 to help her with rent after she told me Marie was not paying and would get her evicted, but it turned out Clara lied about it. For months, I managed not to hate Clara, but I'm so upset with her at this point that my requests end in me calling her a biatch, and that I hope that when her beloved grandmother dies, someone treats her with the cruelty she has shown me. An ex-mutual friend told me she has a baby, get over it. But I don't feel like I'm being unreasonable in asking Clara to return the artwork. She doesn't have to be my friend, but it's not fair to keep my stuff. Am I the a-hole for wanting the artwork returned to me, though she's a mother? I understand being pregnant and a parent is hard, but it was Clara's choice and all I'm asking for is a brief trip to the post office she was paid to make. The artwork is worth over $1,000.
Well, she's been asking her to get it for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So even before she was pregnant?
Well, while she was pregnant.
While she was pregnant, she was started asking her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, Norma says, okay. Clara's a baddie. High speed, no. No, everybody says no. Yeah, I think she has had ample time to mail it back.
Yeah.
Maybe she already sold it, Art. Shoot.
And she sent her the money for the shipping.
Yep.
So she did that too.
Mm-hmm.
I think the friend's being passive aggressive. Just send the artwork and be done with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, here's one. My dog slipped through a hole in the fence that I was unaware about. I looked for my dog for about 3 to 4 hours before posting on the neighborhood Facebook page asking for any information. He had dog tags, so there couldn't be any confusion on who the dog belonged to. I looked again the next day and I saw through my neighbor's window. I saw him through my neighbor's window. I figured they'd found him and were getting ready to call me, so I knocked on their door and told them, "Hey, that's my dog." My dog was clearly trying to scratch his way out of the wife's arm, but they claimed it was their dog. I also noticed they removed the tags I put on him. Their fence wasn't the tallest, so I waited until they let him out back to run, and then I called him, and he came running. I was able to grab him over the fence. Once they noticed he was gone, they came pounding on my door. I didn't answer it because I was worried that the police were involved. Hold on a minute. I didn't answer it because I was worried that the husband would forcibly take my dog from me. After 10 to 15 minutes of them knocking, they got the police involved. I told the officer that this was my dog and that they took the dog tags off him, so I couldn't easily prove it. I have all the paperwork for the dog, so they can't legally prove it's their dog. I gave the cop the paperwork and he helped me kick them off my property. I told my mom what happened and she said what I did was despicable and I should give him back to them. I really don't think I did anything wrong, but I'm second-guessing myself after my mom said I was. A few of my other family members also said I was in the wrong. Am I the a-hole here? Give it back. Why would... What?
No, if it's her dog. Jeez.
What? Someone said, "Your mother is a terrible mother. I'm not even sorry. If someone took my dog or my brother's kitten and we had to steal them back, my mom would be the one the police would have to be called on for beating the shite out of whoever took our pets." The fact that your mother doesn't see how despicable these people are for keeping your dog and lying about it says a lot about your mom. Wow.
So it would now be a bad time to say I've been stealing this cat? Right?
Oh, go ahead, Sharon.
Sharon, just leave a note. That's
I did.
safer.
Yeah.
My wife was cooking dinner yesterday, and I came down to help. She said I could help her by washing the rice to remove the starch. I went to get a specific pot I usually use to do that when I make rice, and she stopped me. She told me that I'm supposed to use the pot that was on the stove to wash it. I asked her to let me wash the rice the way I intended to. This ended up in some bickering between us, and she told me that she no longer wanted my help, so I exited the kitchen. I'm asking if I'm the a-hole because my wife is saying that when people ask for help, you're supposed to help in the specific way that you're asked. My feelings are that there was no harm in me being allowed to complete the task in the way I'm most comfortable. I don't understand why she couldn't let me complete the task in my own way. The only disadvantage to me doing it my way was creating an extra pot to wash, but I already washed the dishes. Am I the a-hole?
It's about more than rice here. That's all I'm going to say. It's ridiculous.
Twilly boy. Okay. Not the a-hole, not the a-hole, not the a-hole. Okay. All right. Okay, here. My stepmother, who's 45, and I, whom 22, have had a rough relationship. Her and my dad, who's 55, met on a dating app pretty soon after my parents separated in 2017. A year later, we moved across the country to live with her and her son, who's 14. I was a senior in high school and adjusting to a blended family, and new rules were difficult. Over the years, I've avoided spending time with her as much as possible, but we always end up having a meal together for big events, birthdays, graduations, when I got a new job, etc. They've all been miserable. Today we had dinner for my dad's birthday. Here's how it went. She complained about work the entire meal. That's pretty typical. She's an elementary school teacher and will complain about her coworkers and even her students. She asked my dad to only get blue cheese on half of his pizza so she could have a bite. She then proceeded to tell the server we were ready to order when my father had just said that he was still deciding. This led to him just getting a salad even though we were at a fancy pasta and pizza place that he loves. She got a small soup and ate less than half of this. For background, I have a history of anorexia, and my father has a history of bulimia. It makes me feel anxious when she barely eats, and I'm pretty sure that her eating habits are pushing my dad back into an unhealthy pattern of eating. I'm 99% sure she has some sort of eating disorder. Both her and my dad will go on restrictive diets together and overexercise. She talks shite about my sister, who's 19, and couldn't be present because she's in college out of town. She didn't order any dessert and then proceeded to eat half of my dad's birthday cake. Then she sprayed her mouth with some sort of spray that affects her taste so she won't eat anymore. On the way back to their house, she complained about the restaurant. She said that there was terrible service, not true, and that it wasn't worth the price. My dad chose the restaurant. It's what he wanted for his birthday. Essentially, every family meal is full of her complaining and making everyone around her feel like shite. I'm done. I'm so tired of it. I've been trying this year to get along with her better, but I don't think I can do it anymore. So I no longer want to attend any family meals with her. I want my dad to feel special on his birthday, not guilty. I don't want to listen to complaints at my graduation this May. Would I be the a-hole if I don't invite her to family meals that I plan and no longer attend anything she plans? I'm okay with seeing her occasionally, but I don't want special occasions ruined by her anymore. Am I the a-hole? Elle says yes. She's your family now. LMNW says no. You totally agree, Norma? No, she's not. No. So Scooter says no. Sharalee says no. Margot says no. Even if it upsets her dad, if her dad says, look, the only birthday dinner we're going on, she's going to be on, so if you choose not to go with her, that means you won't be at my birthday dinner, and that will upset me.
Right, Carolyn, even I have an eating disorder, and that's your family. You can't break up your whole family because of the way she eats. You have to just let it go, and you have to just continue to do it for your dad.
Yeah.
Because he loves her and he loves you. That's my opinion.
Wow, LMNW, really? What if your dad says, look at me, I'm crying. You're not going to go on my birthday dinner? I'm not going to get another birthday dinner. I can't afford to eat out twice. Scooter says, nope, look at her. Wow, Scooter, you do that to your father? No, I would take my dad to dinner myself. What if he couldn't go, Christy? What if he said, your stepmother is very upset. She said that that's disrespectful to her, and I don't want to hurt her like that. She's trying her best. She said she's going to try better, but I think we should all go out to the dinner. It's my birthday, and it's what I want.
Then you can go, but, there's nothing stopping you from meeting him at work and going out to lunch with him from work.
Shirley said I would go and be with my dad no matter what. Yeah, I agree. Wow, look at Scooter. She's just so cold. Maybe the mom will wise up. But you're missing out on that time with your dad, Scooter. But you just said you would. Now she said, no, I wouldn't do that to my dad. See? I would take my dad out without her. What if he couldn't go out without her, LMNW? What if there's only one chance? Are you going to miss it because you can't suck it up? My dad wouldn't choose a woman over his kids ever, so wouldn't be in that position. If it's his wife, it's his family. If he's been married to her, might even have kids with her, I don't know. That's his family, too. He's not choosing her over you. He's including her and including you. And you're the one that's saying, no, I won't go and see you. And if he says that it's making it very difficult on him, it's a stranger's dad, so no skin off my parents were like this, and my dad would tell her to hush up. Talk to the woman. Nope, LMW says. It's a hard one for me. My dad's been single for almost 30 years. Yeah, well, that's different. But think about if he wasn't single for 30 years. What about if he got married, pretty much after he got divorced? And this is his wife. And you don't like the way she eats her soup. Or complains about her work. I mean, they were like, it wasn't that she was telling, really, the things she was doing, okay. Some people are like that. Some people will say, oh, I should have ordered that, or oh, this, or oh, that, when they go out to eat. And they're just little things. I don't know. It's like nothing that drastic. She didn't tell the girl anything like horrible at all. Okay, I would do it for my dad. See? It's not like she was really mean to her. It's just little things like oh, why does she have to tell him, don't get blue cheese on his pizza? It's not that she said like, oh, you're a little stupid person and I hate your guts. See? There's all kinds of people you go out to eat with them and you go, oh gosh, if she does that again. We used to go out with these cousins and they would continuously sit there with the menus open and we were starving and they would never close the menu, so they would never come over to the table to take our order. And I was pregnant and I was like, if they don't close those menus, I'm going to rip the menus out of their hands. So there are things that people do at dinners that may drive you nuts. But You know, I mean, then just talk to them like, hey, could you please close up your menus because they're never going to come take our order. But I wouldn't, you can't get mad at her because she ate half of her soup. And you can't get mad at her if she has an eating disorder and you say that you had an eating disorder and your father did. Then you can't get mad at her if she has an eating disorder. My dad's got a girlfriend and we don't like her, but we're still part of our family and things. But she knows there's 11 of us kids now, so to try to get along with us kids. You guys just gave me a song. Oh, really? What song is that?
Maybe not, don't ask.
My friend's got a girlfriend and he hates that piece. What? Hell yeah, she would not be so judgy. Right, yeah, she should just like let it slide. Have a glass of wine or something, relax. She sounds a little uptight herself. She just needs to loosen up a little bit. So one night, it's not going to kill her. It'll be over soon. On second thought, she is the a-hole. Why? Who's the a-hole? Which one is the a-hole? Oh, yeah, she is the a-hole. Okay, good. The daughter, yeah, she is the a-hole. I phoned a weight loss clinic. $60,000 a month? What's that for?
$60,000 a month? Wow. And you're not going to be eating a lot of food.
Mm-mm.
I wonder what you get for your 60 grand.
I don't know.
Must be something special.
What are they doing for you? Getting surgery over there? That got me too. What Scooter, they changed my mind to all the daddy stuff I got. Oh my goodness. Okay, here, let's look at this. I'm 42, a male. I work from home. I make $7,000 to $10,000 a month after taxes. Thank you, Billy Boy. My friend's got a boyfriend and she hates that dork. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Billy. And I make $7,000 to $8,000 a month after taxes. She is 35 and she's a stay-at-home mom. We live with her 3 kids and a 1-year-old baby of our own. I pay for everything. The mortgage, food, bills, school, clothes, etc. I also gave her a debit card, which she uses mostly for her personal stuff. This card had an initial limit of $700 a month. But with each passing month, I need to add more money to the account because the $700 are not enough for her, and she ends up spending over $1,200. This is like a full month's salary where we live. Most of it she spends on clothes for her, accessories for her, less so in clothes for the kids and me. Occasionally, a small amount of groceries. Sometimes she withdraws $100 from the ATM, which goes unaccounted. I sometimes spend on stuff for me, but at most it's $200 a month. She's mad as why there should be a limit to her card. Because sometimes, close to the end of the month, the store rejects the card due to reaching its limit. She knows what the monthly limit is. I often say that money is not infinite, and I'm afraid that raising the limit will also raise the spending, entering into a never-ending issue. She also buys brand clothes which she rarely wears or just one time. Many clothes are still with the store ticket on them, which means that she never wore them. I tried to talk to her many times, but it always ends up in an argument. Her argument is that she can't get a job due to the kids' responsibilities. She says she's financially a slave. She does all of the household chores, and she deserves to spend what she wants. She complains that she wishes she had a job so she would be financially independent. I believe she uses that as leverage for making me feel guilty for limiting the card. But I told her that she can get a job if she wants to. The thing is that her getting a job, she won't be able to spend that much because I think that would be unfair for me to spend for everything, and she gets to use her wages to do what she wants to unaccounted. If she gets a job, then I would need to get a housekeeper to take care of the kids. Since if I stay home, I need time to work. And then I asked her to use her salary to buy her personal clothes and the kids' clothes, including the kids' soccer practice uniforms, which I'm currently paying for. Am I the a-hole?
Maybe I missed it, but are they married?
Yes.
Oh.
I don't think he is. I think she just wants the best of both worlds. Him to pay for everything. She gets the allowance, and then if she gets a job, she's going to spend all her stuff on what she wants.
Your money's ours and my money's mine.
Right.
Right.
Okay, here we go. My brother has a girlfriend with a really annoying habit. Whenever someone brings up a topic that involves something happening in the future, she always responds with some variation of, well, the world is going to end by then anyway. It's pretty aggravating because it adds nothing of value to the actual topic of conversation. Whether the topic is career goals, financial planning, vacation ideas, or anything else, she always interjects with her apocalyptic predictions. Right now, my union is negotiating for a raise for us, and I'm really excited about it. I was telling my brother and sister about how excited I was and how I intended to put that money towards my retirement savings. Again, my brother's girlfriend interjected that none of us will live to see retirement, so it doesn't matter. I got annoyed, and I snapped at her, saying, "Hey, learn a new song. That one's played out." My brother's girlfriend was offended. She said I was rude and asked for an apology. I said that I disagreed. I thought she was rude, and I'd like an apology myself. My brother told me to climb off my high horse and chill. My sister said that she was also tired of the non-stop gloom and doom and would like a reprieve. My brother's girlfriend said, I see how it is, and left with my brother. My brother said I was needlessly antagonistic. He said his girlfriend can't relate to topics like that because she has a non-traditional job, an Etsy store, but wants to have a meaningful contribution to the conversation. He said I was mean to her and should apologize. I really don't think I should and don't want to. But was I mean? Am I the a-hole?
Well, that kind of stuff does get old.
Right, but do you think you should have said it like that? Hey, learn a new song. That one's played out.
Not quite like that.
He could have said something like, could we stop with the gloom and doom? He didn't have to snap her head off. Beth says she obviously has no goals. No, but don't be nasty. Gets exhausting, but he could have put it nicely. Let's see. Okay, so I'm a 28-year-old male, and I offered to sell my RAV4 that has $100,000 miles on it in January to my brother and his wife. They have a baby and a beat-up Honda Civic, as well as a Scion with too many miles on it. They shared they'd be car hunting this year. I offered to sell it to them for what Carvana offered, which was $14,500. And they agreed to it right away. The problem was that my wife and I still hadn't picked out our replacement car. So they'd check in every week or so, but we weren't ready. In the end, we decided to hold on to the car until our trip to Disney this past week. I checked Carvana again, and they offered me more, this time $16,500. I texted my brother telling him he could have it, but he would need to match Carvana's new offer. He responded saying that they're not haggling, and they've been putting off buying a car for months because they thought we had an agreement, and he was just waiting on us. They called me an a-hole for stringing them along for 3 months and then asking for $2,000 more. I'm just trying to do what is right by my 2 kids and one on the way. Am I the a-hole?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, yes, yes. Good night, Rich Guillaume. Chris Reese says he is the a-hole. Yes, he's the a-hole. Yes, Carolyn P says. Okay, my boyfriend and I are staying at his parents' house. It's been going really well, but his dad is very particular. He has moments every day where he corrects or instructs the other people in the house on how he wants us to behave. I don't really have a problem with it, but he has a few rules that do make me feel a little uncomfortable. I don't need to get into why, but I always get diarrhea here. I've been visiting them for a few times this year, for almost a decade, and it's just what it is. My boyfriend and I used to stay in a room downstairs of the bathroom, and it wasn't a problem, but his brother moved back home, and now we don't have our own bathroom. I don't want to advertise the fact that I have diarrhea to everyone in the house, and I'm not allowed to use the bathroom fan at night, so I usually use the poo-pourri or just a drop. When we got home the last time, my boyfriend got a text from his dad asking me to stop using strong essential oils as it was making him feel sick. I was so embarrassed, and I honestly have been kind of dreading coming home here again. I was talking to my mom, and she suggested that I bring some paper matches because that is what she used to do. I got some paper matches, and they actually work pretty well. Tonight I woke up from my sleep because she had to go to the bathroom. I lit a match when I was done, ran it under the water, folded it up under some aluminum before throwing it in the garbage. I fell back asleep and was woken up a while later with a big commotion. My boyfriend's dad smelled burning and thought the house was on fire, so he woke everyone up in a panic and searched the house to see what was burning. I didn't immediately equate a match with the house on fire, and I didn't smell anything when I woke up, so I didn't bring up that I had lit a match. It wasn't even clicking for me that the match was what he smelled until my boyfriend asked me if I smelled anything when I got up earlier to use the bathroom. Long story short, I got chewed out by his dad for lighting matches at night or lighting matches in general as a guest in their home. Even his mother was upset because she said I could have started a fire and nobody would have known. I apologized and everybody went back to bed. Hold on a minute, I missed something. But then my boyfriend lectured me for like 15 minutes about embarrassing him and playing dumb about not knowing what his dad smelled and not using common sense. And then he told me to go to sleep and try not to wake everyone up again. I honestly was so pissed. My boyfriend is sleeping soundly and I'm just laying here getting madder and madder. I want to wake him up so we can leave, but I feel so uncomfortable. I really don't want to face everyone in the morning. I don't feel like I did anything wrong, but I don't know if I'm thinking rationally because I'm tired and I can't fall back to sleep. What do you think? Am I the a-hole? Hi, Clint. No, says Carolyn.
She needs to see a doctor.
What?
I think she needs to see a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
And
Well, she could just have a nervous stomach or something. I don't know. I don't know. Guess. Okay. All right, let's see.
what are you doing? What are you doing?
Okay. I'm divorced, but I have primary custody of my 3 kids, 16, 12, and 8. Last week I took them all to the zoo, and it was a mostly good experience. The 2 younger kids especially liked it, but my oldest isn't very fond of animals. We passed a zookeeper working hard, cleaning a giraffe exhibit. And to my surprise, my 16-year-old son pointed and said to his brother, That's why you do good in school, I guess, or you're going to end up scooping poop for a job. He said it loud, too, and the keeper and nearby guests surely heard. I was very embarrassed. I quickly led them away and left the zoo soon after and asked him where he learned to talk like that. I said, that's not even true. Don't many of them have master's degree and higher? But he said he thinks it's gross menial work for people who don't want to work with their intellect, and anyone could do it. Referencing enclosure cleaning, I assume. I was pretty appalled by now. He's learned to look down on manual labor, but particularly zookeeping, because as I understand, it's not even easy. Sure, it's manual labor, but I don't think I could do what those zookeepers do every day. I gag from our cat's litter box alone. I thought the best way to teach him more respect and appreciation was to sign him up to volunteer at the zoo. So that's what I did. I found a zookeeper for a week program at a zoo not far from here, and I enrolled him. When I told him, he was very upset and said, "Why would you do that? That sounds awful." I told him I thought he'd said it was easy, so surely just 1 week wouldn't hurt. But he said, yeah, cleaning up messes is easy, and that anyone can do it, but it doesn't mean that he wants to. His father thinks it was too harsh when he found out. I'm guessing some of his sentiments may be influencing these attitudes, but I decided to stick with it. Am I the a-hole? This one should be black. True Scooter is my kind of gal. So big and so strong, I'm all alone. And the night is so long. Thank you, Billy Boy Blue. Oh, shoot. He didn't mean it, Al says. No, the kid needs some lessons, Beth said. No, I think it will teach him a lesson and a good work ethic, Special Needs Mom said. No, Clinton says. That was harsh, Al says. He could get sick. He's not going to get sick from the feces. Come on. We had to clean out horse stalls. It was hard work. I cannot imagine cleaning up after a giraffe. Do you think it was too harsh, Chris Ray? At 16, the kid knows what he's saying, Beth says. He deserves it. That's what's wrong with kids today. In my opinion, no appreciation, Special Needs Mom said. No, it's a great lesson. Sharon? Sharon's not answering.
Well, it won't kill him for a week, I suppose, but I don't know. I used to go outside and work side by side with Michael, especially for leaf raking and stuff like that, and he'd grumble. I say, it's okay, but you know, when you get your own house, make enough money, you can pay someone else to do it. That was always my response. Go to school, make enough money, pay someone else. Because there's always somebody who will do something for money.
Yeah.
Clean out zoo enclosures, whatever. Maybe they are highly educated. It seems like they should have to be. Or get eaten. So
We need more parents that teach their kids. It's only a week. It's in the zoo. He might have a fun time.
he might. It's the
He might
zoo.
get to know animals, you know? He might have a fun time. And she's not putting him in the same zoo so that he's like embarrassed, but she's putting him in a different zoo and he's going to learn, you know, maybe he'll have a fun time.
Very well might.
Sometimes the things you dread doing turn out to be the greatest experiences.
Mm.
You never know. Zoos are fun. They are. He might work with the penguins. Okay. Okay. A couple of months ago, my spouse and I both tested positive for a viral infection. He was relatively minor, but I, on the other hand, am on multiple immune suppressants, and that always makes viral infections worse for me. I was running a fever of 103. I had the worst chills and body aches. My work demanded a sick note. The only place I could get one on short notice was my local urgent care. Now, my spouse had just gone to see them for a sick note not even 2 weeks prior for the same illness. They saw him, tested him, sent him home with a note. We got a bill in the mail a few days later asking for his copay. At first, they tried to send me back outside to wait and told me it would be a 3-hour wait. But one of the nurses noticed how bad my fever was and how sick I was, and she immediately took me into a back room. This is where the problem occurred. Before they even could do more than take my temperature, another nurse came in and told me that they were not affiliated with my insurance. The nurse looked me dead in the eye and told me it would be $500 cash to be seen. I mentioned that my spouse had been seen and successfully billed not even 2 weeks prior. The nurse was adamant and told me that unless I paid up front, I was not going to be seen that day. Here's where I know I was a jerk. I threw an absolute fit. I was sick, I was in pain, I was feverish, and just not in the mood for dealing with this. I kept insisting that they recheck the insurance. They refused. They kept insisting that I go outside to the ATM and take $500 cash out, and then they would bill me the rest if I wanted to pay out of pocket. I ended up having my husband escort me out of the clinic while I yelled a few choice words. We ended up going down to the local ER, who admitted me for a couple of days. A week later, I received a survey from the urgent care clinic's office. I was honest with my review and told the story about them asking for cash. A few days later, a supervisor followed up and asked me to elaborate on the story. He said their clinic doesn't do cash payments and said that what I told him the staff did was highly against their policies. A few weeks later, he called to let me know that the nurse had been let go and the rest of the staff had been retrained and reprimanded. I recently relayed the story to a few friends who work in the medical field, and they told me I was an absolute jerk who got a nurse fired over something as simple as a clerical error. They told me that insurance is changing in the middle of the year all the time. She said I shouldn't have made such a stink and I shouldn't have complained in the survey because I got that nurse fired. But I didn't ask for the survey. I didn't actively seek out the clinic supervisor. I merely responded to what they sent me. I'll bet it was automated. I didn't want to get the nurse fired. I was just trying to be honest. Was I the a-hole? No, no, they say, no, they say. You may have done that once, Adventures. Nope, nope. No, no, nope, Nope. Nope. Okay. All right, let's see. I'm 23.
Really creepy.
I'm 23, a female. I have a new former friend, Emma. She's also 23 and a female. We were quite close throughout high school and college. 5 months ago in October, Emma broke up with her boyfriend. She temporarily stayed with me and my fiance at our place until she found somewhere else to live, and she stayed with us for about 2 weeks, I think. I don't fully remember how long it was. And when she stayed with us, Emma brought her cat, Ted. She adopted him during the lockdown. He's around 7 years old now. When Emma left our place, she didn't bring Ted with her. She didn't even say anything about it. Just one morning we woke up, and she and all her belongings were gone, and she left a note saying she went to go stay with her parents, but Ted was still here. I called Emma many times, but she didn't answer the phone. She didn't respond to me for about a week and told me that she can't bring Ted to her parents because her dad's allergic to cats, and asked if I could please look after Ted until her living situation is better. I agreed at first, but after a couple of weeks, Emma stopped responding to my messages or calls. I was honestly dumbfounded on what to do. My fiance was really mad at Emma and said that she needs to take responsibility for her own cat, and I can't help but agree. We didn't hear anything from Emma for another 5 months, which brings us to now. After the first 2 months passed with no contact, we assured Emma no longer wanted Ted, as she has never responded to my texts or calls. My fiance and I never really discussed wanting a cat. We aren't really cat people. But Ted has grown on us over time, and we've become quite attached. He's a lovely, natured cat and seems really happy living here with us. Since then, I've gotten Ted neutered, I got him microchipped, I paid all his vet bills. Yesterday, Emma rings me out of nowhere and says she's coming on Sunday to pick up the cat. I told her, "You mean my cat?" I told her she can't just abandon him and expect me to be happy to hand him back over to her like nothing's happened. Emma argued with me and said that she did not abandon Ted, that she was unable to keep him due to things out of her control, and that's not her fault. I said it's not my fault either, and I had to take responsibility for him this whole time. She started crying, said she wants her cat back, and I'm being cruel, and that she had other things going on. She begged me to give Ted back to her. I told her no, and that Ted isn't her cat anymore, and that her actions have consequences, and she should deal with it. Emma hung up the phone, and since then, I've not heard anything from her. I've gotten a few messages from our mutual friends asking what happened, and saying that Emma is telling everyone that I stole her cat. I'm feeling guilty now and wondering if I was being too harsh on Emma. I know she was going through a difficult time and everything. Am I the a-hole?
She didn't contact him in 5 months
No.
and then called out of the blue saying, "I'm coming to get my cat."
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they paid vet bills, had him fixed, all this other business.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not her cat anymore. That's what I think.
That's what I think too, and that happened to us. And we had somebody's dog for like a year, and then they came back and wanted their dog back after a year.
I agree.
Scooter didn't know who Crafty Crafter on a Budget is? Wow. Okay. My father-in-law died very unexpectedly 3 weeks ago. Everyone was devastated. Now that the funeral is over, my mother-in-law has been going through his things. My father-in-law loved to cook. It was his favorite thing to do. He got himself a ton of nice pots and pans, cutting boards, all different types of kitchen gadgets. You get the point. I also like cooking, so I thought that some of his stuff would be the perfect thing to have in our home to remember him by. Mother-in-law was dropping off father-in-law's golf clubs for my husband, so I asked about the cooking supplies, and she said she gave all the fancy stuff to the sister-in-law since she moved into her new condo and cooking was her and her dad's thing. They would cook together and go to cooking classes together. I get that. But I asked my mother-in-law if I could also get some of it to have in our home and to cook with to remember my father-in-law by. She said, but she's already given it to her. I reminded her that we had a fairly new home too, and we were trying to furnish it. It was unfair for her to get everything. It should have been split evenly, or we could have all gone through it together and split it up. She once again said, sorry, she already gave it to her. It reminded me about an event that happened a few years ago. Here's where I may be the a-hole. After sister-in-law moved home from college, she had a ton of apartment and kitchen stuff from her apartment at school. When my husband and I moved into our first apartment, we took almost all of it. Then I had a bridal shower a few months later. I got a bunch of new stuff, and I threw out all of my sister-in-law's old stuff. It was years old at that point, so I didn't think she'd want it back. When her and her boyfriend moved into their first apartment, she was pissed that she had to buy all new things, and it was a big deal in the family that we gave them a very nice housewarming gift. But this has nothing to do with that. Those were plates and dishes. This is pro chef equipment that belonged to father-in-law. We were close to father-in-law too, and would like to have something to remember him by since she isn't even the one who hosted holidays in the family. Wouldn't it be nice to know that I prepared Christmas dinner with father-in-law's supplies? I sent sister-in-law a text saying so, and she never replied, but my husband told me while he thinks it should have been split 50-50, he just wants me to drop it. Am I the a-hole? Oh, that's good, Mustang. I'm glad it's helping your insomnia. Thanks to choose us. Thank you for choosing us to go to bed with. Yes, L says. Yes, Carolyn P says. Yes. Yes, special needs says. Yes, she is. Just like Mustang. And we know who you are. Okay. We celebrated my birthday hold on a minute. Oh no. I'm a 28-year-old male. My girlfriend is 30, female. We've been together for 8 years and we've been living together for 4 years. My girlfriend is always the artsy type and always has some personal project going on, but she has the tendency to get lost in her own world. We celebrated my birthday last weekend and she ended up getting me a pencil lengther. I don't even use pencils. I don't even know what a lengthier is. It doesn't even fit the typical number 2. It was purely for colored pencils. I also don't color. When she asked me if I liked it, I just quietly walked outside our home and tossed it into the trash. She was understandably upset and called me an a-hole for doing that, claiming that I could have at least tried it. Here's the thing. She's been doing things like this ever since we started living together. She has been gifting me things that she likes and ultimately ends up using them. For example, last year she got a package of Sailor Moon stickers. I don't watch Sailor Moon, and she ended up using them all. She also gifted me a jewelry box one time. I don't wear jewelry, so guess who's been using it all this time? First world problems at its finest. So it's been a few days, and she's still upset, and has even gotten both of our parents to berate me for trashing the gift. She even admitted she knew I would hate it and was planning on using it after I calmed down in a few days, a detail that she did share with others, but I am still getting name called. Am I really the a-hole? Yes. Double a-hole, Kate O says. Hi, low lady. Hi, little lady. Mm-mm. Okay, I'm going to take you somewhere else now. I'm going to go to this Buford house. This is a magnificent waterfront home located in New Point on Ladies Island. I gotta look for that Ladies Island now, write that down. The traditionally designed home features a beautiful wraparound porches that take full advantage of the water and natural views from the desirable corner location, not to mention the sunsets overlooking downtown Beaufort are incredible. Well, let's take a look. I like all the built-ins. Oh, it has an elevator. That's a woman or that girl over there. This little person by the tub. Cedar closet. Look at that floor in the garage. Wow. It's a nice garage. And all those cabinets. That's a sweet garage.
Oh, I love that floor.
Community dock. Look at that. Okay, how much do you think that is? Let's see. Sharon, 765. Seriously? It's bank 1.5. Oh, really? 675?
I
I
didn't,
can't.
see most of it.
Oh, girls.
I mistyped the description, so I just print something out.
Way off.
I was way behind in the pictures.
It's not. Doesn't matter. I'm not buying it, so it's okay.
Oh, way off.
Me neither.
way off. Okay.
I mean, it's all right.
All
I
right.
can live with it.
All right.
What was?
Okay, this house is in Fripp Island, South Carolina. This beautiful property on Fripp Island is a must-see. Upgrades throughout, an updated kitchen with a big island, stainless steel appliances, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, multiple decks, close to all the amazing amenities that Fripp Island has to offer. All right. Hold on before we go in there. Okay. All right. Pull it over.
Well, this is pretty.
Oh, pine cones. Look at the pine cones.
Yeah.
Those are those big woody pine cones.
Yep.
We didn't see those pine cones in South Carolina. I saw them in North Carolina, but look, they have them on Fripp Island. I have to bring garbage bags for the pine cones. Fire pit. Look at that big swing. It's like a swinging bed. Wow. It is a swinging bed.
That's nice.
That's interesting. That's a building. What the heck is that? Icebreaker.
That's pretty.
Okay. How much is that house?
Oh. Huh.
Okay, let me check.
Ooh. That's a good buy.
Mm-hmm.
Nice house.
It is. Let's see. Hey, there's someplace called Cat Island. What is Cat Island?
Oh, Sharon, that's for you.
I wonder what that is. Cat Island.
Yeah, that works for me. Sign me up.
Let's see what Cat Island
You know,
is.
people think I'm probably the crazy cat lady. I don't even have a cat.
You do now.
I do. This one's coming home. Yeah.
Cat Island Club is a private, premier country club in Beaufort, South Carolina.
Oh. Well, that's interesting.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay, let me... Okay, let's look at this house. This house is right on the ocean in Myrtle Beach.
Ooh. Wow. Wow. Oh, man. Wow.
Okay, how much do you think that is?
No bedrooms?
They showed us bedrooms, didn't they?
No.
Oh.
Or
Oh, you can
okay.
imagine.
Really pretty, isn't it?
Gorgeous.
Oh.
Nice.
Let's see. Gonna go with
Where is this?
Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach. And let's.
Well, it looks like maybe Lil Lady.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Because I was
Wow, 6 million?
Mm-hmm.
4'8".
Way too much for that. Way too much.
No property at all.
Well,
You're paying for
There
the
is.
location. You got the ocean.
That's true. And
well,
the
I know.
beach.
And they're not making more. I know that too. But I don't know if I'm paying 6 million. It better be exactly what I want.
Right. Pretty lighting though. You know what I like about the West Coast though? That the sun sets over the ocean.
Okay, here's one on Foley Beach.
Oh,
This one right over here.
oh.
This one over here.
Cheaper to rent one of those for 2 weeks out of the year than own it.
What if you want to stay there more than 2 weeks?
Well then, I don't know. Still cheaper than owning it. What do you think the taxes are on 6 million?
Uh-huh. 60,000?
I would hope not.
Oh no.
Oh, that one there.
Foley. Here we
I know.
come.
What should be the one we're staying in? That would be great.
I don't think so. I don't think this one has an elevator.
It's not it.
It doesn't. It's not as luxurious at all.
Not it. No.
Yeah, no, it's really kind of
Yeah.
bare bones. Yeah. Well, how much do you think that is?
Probably 375.
You think that's 375,000 on the ocean now? I'd run right down there with a check right now with the cash. Yeah, that's 375 on the ocean. Come on, really?
Maybe.
Okay. Your dreams, maybe.
It's like a beach shack.
Okay.
I didn't see the outside though.
But it's right on the ocean. There's lots on the ocean for more than $375. Just to let you know.
Oh, okay. My
Okay.
mistake. My mistake.
All right. We'll let it slide.
I'm so off with real estate because everywhere I've lived, the real estate is so expensive. In my later years, not in my younger years. So I try to aim too low or too high.
Daniel Island. What is Daniel Island?
2.3. Huh?
This is 2.3?
Yep.
Wow, I was off by a little bit.
Just a little.
I was 2.2.
Just
So
a little.
off by 100,000. That's quite a bit to be off, but still.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not very good at this game.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, right.
Brother. Oh, brother. I don't know. Well, and we can dream. It's just for fun. Oh, I don't know. I'm getting tired. I'm gonna go to sleep. Okay, I guess we're gonna go to sleep. Yeah, my eyes are like that too. Night, everybody. God bless. Prayers for all that need them. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Billy Boy.
Toodaloo.